Greetings, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Squared Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. And here are your hosts, the Hot Pockets impresario, Johnny Bottles, and the neckbeard psychologist, Dr. Don Wayne. Greetings, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Squared Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. And here are your hosts.
Stop it. End
the Hot
it.
Pockets impresario,
Please.
Johnny Bottles, and the neckbeard psychologist, Dr. Don Wayne.
We got to fix that.
We got to fix that, Don. We got to fix a lot of things here, Don. Well, welcome to another edition, folks, to the Squared Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Johnny Bottles, the Hot Pocket impresario. As the young lady said twice, to my left is Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychologist. You know him, you love him on Twitter. We are just, if you believe the YouTube comments, we're just two fat, unhealthy men sitting around talking about wrestling.
I watch football, too.
Sitting around talking about football and wrestling.
Oh, welcome to the show. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a while. I just got back from East Tennessee. Want to send out thoughts and prayers to everybody in the Southeast dealing with this hurricane. It's a travesty. I hope the government reaches out and helps some of you folks out. You definitely need it. Shout out to NASCAR. Believe it or not, some old retired NASCAR heads got their personal helicopters and were out there flying rescue missions. Bottles. I don't know if you saw that or not, but it's a hell of a thing to do. Those guys deserve all the credit. Greg Biffle, one of them I definitely saw, so shout out to him. God bless you, man.
That's good.
I drove through that thing Friday from East Tennessee, so I know what was going on out there. I saw the flooding. It was really incredible. So scary stuff.
Yeah, not good at all. Not good at all.
But
a lot of sad videos on Twitter. Horrifying footage.
Really, it is. And the stories are getting worse by the minute, and the body count's going up. So I shudder to think where this is all going to end up before it's all said and done.
Hey, 3 cheers for FEMA.
Dumbasses. Anyway, Bottles, we've had some wrestling the past couple of days. I watched Monday Night Raw today. Couldn't stay up and watch it last night. I did watch the football game. I did desert the company. I did leave them in the dust, but I did also watch SmackDown from Friday. And I got to tell you, between the two shows, I want to get your take. SmackDown felt like it was a little bit better led. It felt like it had a little bit better storyline going on. There was a couple of things going on within the SmackDown universe that sort of gave me pause. Where's this going? I can see the discontent. I want to talk about that a little bit. But before we get into it, what did you think, comparing and contrasting the two shows on WWE?
Personally, I thought Raw was a better show than SmackDown.
Really?
Yes, I did. They're blowing this whole bloodline thing by not having Roman on, not having the wise man on. Too much Cody. I mean, you've got hopefully the go-home show for Bad Blood, which is this coming Saturday. The go-home show's on Friday, and hopefully those guys will come back and turn it around. Turn the rating ship around.
They did a pretty good rating on SmackDown this week, though. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't an awful number. Well, we're going to talk about it, but that's...
The Cody Rhodes situation, I know they're trying to make this guy John Cena Part 2, and I say that every week, and I'm just tired of Cody Rhodes. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of good guy Cody. I want to see him kirk out. I want to see him blow his top and just annihilate somebody. Chairs, whatever. Chairs.
Believe it or not.
Hell in a cell. Kendo sticks. Throw him through a table. Do whatever. It's too much good guy Cody. I want to see bad guy Cody. Not a heel turn, but show some fire, Cody. Show some fire.
So you're tired of the white meat baby face is what you're saying.
Tired of it. We get it. He's a good guy. He's got a wife and kid. They travel with him on the tour bus. He's does all these Make-A-Wish things. He's when he hears sad stories on Twitter, he'll send a kid a championship belt. He'll get tickets for a high school after school, not a high school, but an elementary school after school wrestling program. He'll send those guys to WrestleMania, which he did. That whole AV class he sent to WrestleMania. Good guy Cody Rhodes. Okay, let's see something different. Let's turn it up a notch. Let's have him go bananas, like Pat Patterson. Let's have him go banana. Do it, Don. You got it.
No, hold on. Denisha, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Yes, our favorite girl is here. I want to thank everybody for joining. The super chat is open. I've got a lot to say today. I don't think Bottles and I are going to see eye to eye on a lot of this. It's turning out real quick out the gate. And I'm going to tell you why. Like and subscribe, hit the notifications button. This thing started off with Randy Orton on SmackDown. And I said, there it is. A superstar's in the ring. Randy Orton comes out. He addressed the crowd. And he said, I've got questions that I need to have answered from one Cody Rhodes, and I need it right away. I thought this started off strong, in my opinion. Cody came out, and what I really enjoyed, did you see the kids that were dressed up like Cody Rhodes? That was so cool to me, man. Just two kids having a good time. I thought that was a nice moment, a nice touch. Dad took them to the wrestling show. I love to see stuff like that, having a young child of my own. Whether you like it or not, because he's a baby face, doesn't matter. But this is where it gets interesting. Cody asked if you'd rather be a fool or a coward. Which one would you rather be, a fool or a coward, Johnny?
Rather be a fool.
That's what he's taking, is the fool's way out. I enjoyed this. I thought it explained why he's team with Roman Reigns. If it gets rid of the bloodline, who's been causing him hell for the past several months, I thought it made all the sense in the world from a storyline angle. It makes sense now. He said, hey, I know I can't trust the guy, but I can trust him here. I trusted him at WrestleMania when he said he'd go away. It sort of made sense to me. And the part that really got me excited was, out of nowhere, Kevin Owens comes out, and he's clearly got issues with what's going on with Cody Rhodes. I enjoyed that segment of the show. I thought it added some fire, because before Owens could come out there and say his piece and tell him why he had an issue, out came the bloodline. And I thought that added a little bit of drama to what's going on right here.
I will say one thing about that bloodline segment. Solo Sikoa cut a great promo. He really did. He cut a great promo. Usually he's a little hesitant in his promos, but maybe he's busting it all out in a house show circuit, cutting promos every night, and he's getting comfortable with it. And he sounded good.
I enjoyed this part of it. And then, of course, Cody says, you know what? We'll have a 3-on-3 match. I'll join you. And Owen says, no. You've already picked your tag team partner. This is just me and Randy Orton. And you could see Cody give him the look like, what the hell is that about? I thought this was a very telling moment. It added some oomph to the segment. I enjoyed this for what it was. It gave me some pause. We've been wondering which one of these guys was eventually going to turn on him. Randy Orton hasn't been on SmackDown in a while. I had really thoroughly enjoyed this opening segment. I thought SmackDown started off with a bang this week.
Right.
Anything else that you liked about it? Did you enjoy the part where Owens was like, hey, you're not joining me, punk ass bitch. You ain't joining my team.
That was a nice twist. I enjoyed that. That was a nice twist. Okay. I'll feel a lot better when it's full on bloodline versus bloodline. That will get my interest. That will pique my interest, where you'll say, who's coming in next? What other Samoan is coming in next? What other Tongan is going to come in? Who's going to team with who? Oh,
I'm glad you mentioned that. One of them is missing, correct?
What's that?
One of the cousins or the brothers is missing in the family.
Jacob Fatu's cousin Jonathan, I believe, is missing.
Have they found him yet?
I have no idea.
I hadn't heard they'd found him yet. So if anybody in the chat knows, by the way, like and subscribe, hit that notifications button. If anybody knows, let us know. I have been looking to see if they found him yet. I saw he went missing last week. I was like, wow, that's super weird, man. Anytime something like that happens, it's usually not a good thing. You know what I mean?
I got you. Absolutely.
So I enjoyed this, what it was. Please continue. I had to ask you that since you were talking about it.
It was like I said, when it's full blown bloodline versus bloodline, I'll be happy. The Roman Reigns star power is sorely missed. You never know what you don't know what you got until it's gone. Paul Heyman's fantastic. You really miss Paul Heyman's interaction with all these guys. What's the chat doing their own show? What's going on?
No, I'm laughing at you because I'm thinking about what you're saying right now. Because you want instant gratification. You just want to get there. I can see you in high school on a date. First base was not an option. We're headed for third. It's a triple out the gate. I'm making it to third.
Absolutely.
There is no warm-up of the hands. If they're cold, get over it, Missy. I'm here.
Right. It's a long walk home. That's all I can say. It's a long walk home.
He just want to round that base and head for home as fast as possible. I have enjoyed the slow build. You can't just throw him back in there. Now, I do believe that they've got to bring back Paul Heyman sooner than later. I think it's time. He's been gone now for several months. He's a great part of the show. He makes it watchable. He makes it interesting. But they've got to have a story for where they're going from here, and I'm pretty sure that's what we're headed to. You know what I mean?
When does this actually stop?
I think it stops at WrestleMania.
For sure.
I think that's when you get to the end of it.
If you believe the rumors that were floating online a couple of weeks ago.
What have you heard now? Oh, give me the juicy rumors.
Solo's going to be pinned at Bad Blood. He's getting pinned at all the house shows. He's going to be pinned at Bad Blood. He's going to be pinned on the following SmackDown after Bad Blood. And Jacob Fatu will bring in another guy, and he will take over as the tribal chief and excommunicate Solo Sikoa. He'll be a man without a country, man without a family. Roman don't want him, and Jacob Fatu and the new bloodline, they don't want him either. He's just a man on the fringe of society, as I heard someone say a couple of weeks ago. And that was you.
And just real quick, Greg, yes, I see you, buddy. That's why I was mentioning you. Greg gave us the link on the missing brother. So that's why I was asking if anybody had heard an update on it. We appreciate you, Greg, always tuning in. Want to give a quick shout out because he keeps us in on the news that we miss sometimes. I appreciate it. Back to the SmackDown show. The Nia Jax backstage with Tiffy Stratton, I'm not a fan of Nia Jax. I don't think you are either. But when Big Mama put that ham hock of a hand around her throat and was choking her out, that was so good. I bought into that. I was like, oh, shit, Big Mama's going to snap. She's had enough of the little porcelain doll. It's about go time. She keeps acting like she's going to turn on her. Well, get to it first. I thought that was tremendous.
They're ramping that up. They're ramping it up too fast.
Yes.
I guess something's going to happen at Bad Blood. Tiffany's going to cash in on somebody, so it is what it is. I like the fact Bayley was back. She wrestled a good match with Naomi.
I was going to talk about that.
I don't care for Naomi that much style-wise. I just keep visualizing her as a cheerleader from years ago when she used to come out with Brodus Clay, and that whole gimmick was horrible. But
you didn't like the T-Rex thing? What the hell was his name when he first came out? He was a dinosaur, right?
He was Brodus Clay, and they gave him a mohawk, and he would dance like this with his hands up like this, like a T-Rex.
Yeah,
and he would dance like that, and the girls would dance alongside of him and make him look good, if you could. And but when he was in the ring, he'd say to the crowd, "Should I finish him?" I'm going, who talks like that? Should I finish him? Who says
Are we in an adult movie? That's what that sounds like.
Yes.
Because the fluffer coming out next.
Him?
Here comes the fluffer to the ring.
We need a fluffer out here.
Funkasaurus. Thank you very much. Yes, I knew he was a damn dinosaur of some kind. Go on, dog.
The Funkasaurus. That was a Vince McMahon thing.
Yeah, he said Funkasaurus, YouTube. Funkasaurus, like you're funky.
Yes.
Let's not get that hit upon us again. But yeah, the Bayley-Naomi match, it was for the number one contender match. Bayley won. It sort of feels like, I don't know, maybe they're going to set up for Bayley to win this, and then you get the cash in for the Money in the Bank spot. It sort of feels like it for me. Now it's time to cash in. I'm not actually beating my friend Nia Jax, but I'm going to beat the chick that beat Nia Jax. That's sort of how it feels to me. So I hope we're right. The Andrade LA Knight segment. Did you like this?
I did like that.
The backstage segment, yes.
I'm tired of Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. I'm tired of seeing that match. We've seen that match for a month and a half now. Every week. Tired of it. Just tired of it. It's like a Vince McMahon thing where they're just retreading. Don't like it, pal. Shove it down her throat again, pal.
I have good news. You're going to see it again this weekend.
Oh. Match 7. The rubber match.
Hey, it's not the rubber match. It's the rubber match.
I can't wait, Don. I'll be on the edge of my seat.
I bet you will. You'll be sitting there wondering what could possibly happen next. You seem so excited today. Are you okay, pal?
I feel good, pal. I had a little dental work. I had a crown put on yesterday, and I went back to the office today and said, "Hey, can you shoot me up with some more of that stuff?" Oh, you have to get in the chair, sir. You have to be. It's got to be a procedure. You just do it out in my car, but they wouldn't do it. Go ahead, Don.
Wouldn't do it, you say. Okay, well, we're going to continue on.
Let's continue on, Don.
Andrade and Carmelo had the match. LA Knight came out and cost Andrade the match, allegedly. Andrade still won't shake his hand. I'm not sure where this is going, but it's going somewhere where I think, the winner of the best of 7, that's who ends up facing LA Knight in Saudi Arabia. That's just sort of how I feel about that. That's where I think it's going. That makes sense to you? Because he's caught in all this shit.
This is AEW levels of just monotony. Monotony. AEW levels of monotony.
Okay. Well, look, we're going to talk about this in a minute. We start talking about the ratings because I think you and I are on the same mind track when it comes to the recent WWE shows and how unbelievably stale it seems to have gotten as of late. So we're going to talk about that here shortly. They did the AJ Styles return announcement for SmackDown. I don't know how excited I should feel about this, but it was like, okay, at least there's a star returning to the product that I could get behind and endorse and I'll enjoy watching because he's been gone since the France show. And was that June or July? It's been several months. He's had a nice little break. So how can I miss you if you don't go away? Well, he's been away long enough to where his coming back should be a good little sign for the show, right?
Who, AJ? Yeah, he even said he was going to take some time off because he feels his career is winding down. He is thinking about retirement, and now that his kids are teenagers now. He thinks back on all the things he missed, but now he's got the opportunity with an abbreviated schedule. He can go and just do a couple of house show shots and, watch their graduations, be there for that, birthday parties, go on vacation with the kids, that sort of thing. So he's loving that.
Next part of this,
they're not booking AJ Styles? Everybody on Twitter. How come they're not? Where's AJ? Where's AJ Styles? They're not booking him. How come he's not on there? How come?
Because he's
one of the greatest of all time. I hope he when the contract's up, I hope he goes to AEW. Be with his friends, the Young Bucks.
Or they job his ass out and have him jump off a cage and break his leg in the first year a la Edge. No, thank you. I think he's exactly where he wants to be.
If the internet wrestling community was a building, I'd call it a bomb threat.
I wouldn't. I would just tell them they were, but never mind. I'm not going to go there. I had to bite my lip on that one, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
Had to bite my lip. We got Michin Takanoku versus Piper. That was next on the match.
Who?
On the show. Michin Takanoku, I think is her name.
That's close.
I'm not even trying. It's a dumpster match.
I DoorDashed some of that stuff this week. Michin Takanoku.
Yeah,
I think
whatever her name is.
Wasn't that good, pal?
In a dumpster match, I said, what the hell is this? Piper loses again. Why does Piper always lose these matches? She's a big girl. She can do something tonight. I mean, she can do something in the ring. She's got something. Why does the big mama always got to lose these matches, man?
And big girls always try harder, Don. So, I mean, I don't understand why they're not giving her a little something, a little gumption there, a little push, a little teeny tiny push. I mean, they were tag team champs at one time, weren't they? Her and Chelsea.
Yes, yes,
of course. Well, as they say, Don, wrestling, they need jobbers, and the world needs ditch diggers too. So,
well, whatever. By the way, yes, we are very well. Denisha, I saw you. Yes, I am actually recording NXT tonight. I am going to watch it. It's a big deal. So, record it on your DVRs, ladies and gentlemen. This might run a little bit long. We got some stuff to get to today that I want to talk about myself. We get some backstage women's interaction on SmackDown. Bloodline wins. Owens gets upset at the end of the show at Cody Rhodes. And there is dissension within the ranks. It was a great way to go off the show. Randy Orton's playing Peacemaker. Randy Orton always plays Peacemaker before he turns on your ass. Have you noticed that throughout his history? He's always the super nice guy and then RKO out of nowhere.
I don't know why. They don't put a belt on Randy Orton. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it.
Well, we've talked about this before. Once you reach a certain plateau, You don't need the belt to make you. You just need good storylines to continue
Right.
your career. That's sort of where I'm at.
But you just can't keep having the man lose or just have a 50-50 win-loss record. You've got to give the guy, I mean, if he was a tag team champ with an up-and-comer, where he could give that guy the rub. Oh, I'm working with Randy Orton. I'm tag team champs for Randy Orton. Like he did with Riddle. Riddle got the rub. He made Riddle into a star by being his tag team partner. And he got Riddle over.
Can we define made him a star? Because I wasn't watching during this era. And if I recall, that's the guy that had birds and rainbows and unicorns fly to his ass when he got in the ring. That was the
3 years
end.
ago, Don.
No, hold on. That was the end of the Vince McMahon going to pot era of booking, was it not? With him and his little crony.
Was that a pun? Was that a pun regarding Riddle going to pot?
It was not. Am I wrong though? Like that was the Kevin Dunn into Vince McMahon terrible booking ideas era where it was just completely going to shit, and AEW was actually creeping up the back door to take over the demo rankings. If I'm not mistaken, that's what was going on. Correct?
Could be. Could be.
Okay. But this episode of SmackDown, Fox got rid of SmackDown because they said they weren't getting the dollars, and they weren't getting the return on the investment, blah, 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 and it wasn't what they were hoping for, right? And that's sort of where we want to talk about this.
Professional wrestling skews poorly in advertising rates. A lot of people think that when I say people, I mean advertisers, people who own the companies, the PR firms that represent these advertisers, say that professional wrestling viewers are poor, they don't have a lot of money, and they're not buying anything. They're not buying our products, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
And
they're
absurd
spending $500 for front row seats for these events, and up $1,500 packages for PLEs. And what's the latest with the new WrestleMania? Is that going to be like a $2,500 deal to sit in the front row?
I don't know that one.
And go backstage.
I was just going to talk about when you look at wrestling, the merchandise sales alone. I've got 2 belts manufactured by the WWE that I bought myself. I got $1,200 worth of merchandise just sitting there. I have news for you. We're not poor, you morons. You just have to cater to the fan base. And the reason I bring this up, and the reason we still want to talk about this, is Dave Meltzer a couple of years ago was all about the total viewership. That's what they were looking at. That's what was the big draw. That's what everybody wanted. Well, here we are a couple of years later, and they're all screaming. Actually, it's not the viewership totals. It's the demographic that they're all looking at. It's the demo. What's the demo? The demographic the demographic used to be 18 to 35. That used to be the old school. That was the target audience. They've expanded that to 18 to 49. I don't know why. I've never understood it. That's just what they've done. I say all this to say this. College football is now on Friday nights on Fox, which I think is a total bunch of bullshit, and here's why. They have high school football on Friday nights. They always have. The rule was the NFL would leave Friday nights alone. They would leave Saturdays alone for the most part until the season was over, so high school and college could get their football games in. Now college football is in such a greedy-ass state that they have gone ahead and said, we're going to put multiple games on Friday night. I think it's awful. I think it's a terrible business practice to take time away from kids in states where people want to watch them because they got to go to their alma mater to watch that game. I think it's a crock of shit. So this makes me very happy. Fox got rid of SmackDown because of all the things we just talked about. Their drawing last week on the Friday night show did 1.93 million. Correct me if I'm wrong, but SmackDown was averaging 2.2 or 2.3 million for the past year alone.
That's correct, Don.
Their demo was in the high 0.4s, if I remember that correctly as well.
They were number 1 on Friday nights, I believe, in that time slot.
And on any channel, not just cable and not just, network usually gets the bigger number anyway, but they were the number 1 demo. This football game.
Let me preface that.
Go ahead.
Well, let me tag this, not preface it because I'm saying it after the fact. I got to get my grammar corrected. Let me say entertainment program. Entertainment. Because if you go on Fox News, A lot of those, like Hannity and all those shows, do
I got those
2 or 3 or what have you. And I'm sure on MSNBC, that guy comes on at 8 o'clock on MSNBC. What's the guy's name? Rick Maddow. I'm sure he does like 2 or 3 million too on certain nights. So the news shows bring in more than the entertainment in some cases. Fox News mostly dominates the night. Number 1 or number 2 overall program. But go ahead.
This was this past Friday night. The demo on the Fox game was 0.38. Way lower than what SmackDown was doing for them previously. On the other channel, on USA Network on cable, they did a 1.57 million, but their demographic was 0.45. They're still doing stronger numbers in what is supposedly the key demo that everybody's chasing right now. So explain it to me. It can't be either total viewership or demographic. It's got to be one or the other that matters the most. And they move these numbers, such as Dave Meltzer, when it suits their beliefs or what they're trying to push on their narrative. The narrative here is pretty simple. SmackDown was a huge profit, a huge plus for Fox. They put on College SmackDown. No one gives a shit, and they turned it off. By the way, the number 1 show that night was on ESPN, the Miami-Virginia Tech game, that did a 0.93 demo and drew in 3.25 million people. So they're not even winning the football battle when they put it on, and it's not on cable. It's on network television, and they're still not winning. So what the hell are they doing over there? It also turns out. Go ahead.
With the ratings, there's 2 types of ratings: overall ratings and the demo ratings. Now, what matters more?
They say now that it's the demo. That's what they say now.
Overall
is that
ratings.
Demo.
It's the overall ratings. I'll tell you what the demo matters. The demo matters to the advertisers, and they decide how much they want to spend for that particular demo. For your upscale advertisers, your car companies, Apple, Google, all your techs, the pharmaceutical industry, Domino's, insurance companies like Progressive and all that stuff, they care about the total viewers. They don't care about the demo. The 18 to 49, for some reason, they think, oh, these are car buyers. These are Apple phone buyers. These are blah, 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 blah buyers.
Mortgage owners.
Things. Mortgage owners, yes. Realtor.com. Let's buy some 18 to 49 demo people. Get them in here. Whatever. You understand what I'm saying, correct?
I see what you're saying, but I wanted to talk about this because Meltzer is always harping on the demo is what matters the most. That's what everybody looks at. That's what everybody functions on.
Right.
That's what they want to see is what your demo is. Well, here it is. Plain English. SmackDown on cable beat your network television in the key demo that Fox said they got rid of SmackDown because they weren't getting the dollars. So maybe it's not SmackDown's fault that Fox couldn't sell this to anybody. Maybe it's the people at Fox who's making piss poor decisions that cost them all this money. Just a thought. I want to get that out of the way first. I also wanted to say this. We've been watching AEW since it came out, since its inception. Last year at this time, they did 990,000 people on a 0.34 share. A year ago exactly.
That's the average.
That was what they averaged. To this past week, they did 714,000 on their televised pay-per-view show, so to speak. That's what it is. Don't tell me that it's not. It's essentially a free pay-per-view. The neckbeard's telling me it's not a pay-per-view is absurd to me. Yes, it is. They advertise the hell out of it. This is a big deal to Tony Khan. He puts it out everywhere. They advertise it to have great matches. They wanted to have a big show. It also did a 0.23 in the demo, which is 0.34 a year ago. So they're losing everything. They're losing total viewers. They're losing demo viewers. I don't understand why everybody's telling me that AEW is not a failing product right now. There's also the report that you pulled up that shows where they're losing money hand over fist in an effort to get some sort of a consolidatory or a concise report out. WrestleNomics put this out there with all the data they could gather. Here's what they believe their expenses are. Here's the total revenue they believe they're producing, and they're still losing $37 million. It's a losing venture in every estimate that's out there, and the neckbeards will not let it go.
Yearly expenses. We won't go house shows, Dynamite Collision. We're not going to break it down that way. Yearly expenses. Talent total compensation, $84.6 million for talent. Payroll. Media and event operating, which is the non-talent people, the cameramen, the stagehands, the ring boys, the ring crew, $66 million. Consumer products operating, I would assume that would be their merchandise.
Yes, I'd assume
$15.9 million. General and admin, $15.4 million. The executives have to get paid too. When I say executives, I mean guys like Tony Khan, of course. The EVPs get a little chunk of change from there, and also the guys who are agents backstage. Marketing and selling expense. You got to advertise this stuff, and they're a little lackluster in their advertising for these events, but they spend $9.2 million a year for that. Estimated total expenses, $191.2 million. Their estimated total revenue, $154 million even. They're in the hole on the average. Well, this is for 2023, Don.
This is the estimate now, not actual facts.
This is the estimate. Everything's rounded off. $37 million in the hole. And that's just for 2023.
I mean, I don't doubt it.
Yeah. Last year, 188 roster members were on the website. Average compensation, when you average it all out, if everyone was making the same amount of money, it would be $450,000.
That's insane to me. That is ludicrous. That's beyond the pale. I can't even begin to fathom paying that many wrestlers that much money. I just can't.
If they're paying Chuck Taylor or Evil Uno $450,000, those guys should count their blessings. If they're paying the goat-faced boy from Mexico $450,000 a year, that guy should be doing more cartwheels in the ring.
I wish he'd go.
And this is from WrestleNomics. This is from
right. This isn't coming from us.
No, this is not from us. This has been compiled by WrestleNomics. Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics, who also he does a post wrestling podcast with those guys from Post. What's the guy's name? I forgot.
Speaking of podcasts, like and subscribe, hit that notifications button. We will be here coming up Thursday again for another show that we're going to review AEW. So looking forward to that. But I just want to talk a little bit by the way, yes,
talk NXT.
I'm sure we'll talk NXT a little bit. We'll also probably talk about the upcoming PLE for WWE, which we might do that tonight because I really would like to talk about some of these matches we're going to have because some of them got tied into Raw. And I brought up the ratings this week because I had a feeling that Raw was going to struggle. I said, I want to base this show around the ratings because right now the NFL, I almost said the WCW, the NFL is going head-to-head with WWE, and they're putting on double-header games. If you don't know what that means, it means they've got a NFL Monday night game on ESPN. They've also got one on ABC because everybody knows Disney owns ABC and ESPN. If you didn't know, you know now. Those games last night did a combined like 20.3 million people. 20 million people watched those two football games combined on average.
Is that higher than a regular Monday? Last year?
You know, I'd have to go back and look, but I want to say they typically do around 12 to 14 million for a Monday night game. I want to say that's what their average was. So 20 million is pretty high. On the other hand, Raw only did 1.27 million with a 0.37 demo. Now, you and I have been talking about this for a long time. The number of WWE fans that tuned on the NFL, we thought it was actually going to be higher when we first started doing the show. Turns out it's between 200 and 300 fans on average that switch from the Monday Night Raw and go over to the NFL games. That's just what you and I have looked at for sort of a 10,000 feet view. That's what we're looking at. David says that those are the wrong ratings. So if everybody's got the right ratings, please tell me, because I just looked this up literally about 10 minutes ago, and that wasn't by Thurston. That was by somebody else. So if they just corrected those, I didn't see it. That's what I saw coming into the show.
Well, you had the Fast Nationals, correct?
I know. I had something that was, it's still there, 1.28 million. 1.56 is the 10-week weekly rolling average. So they're still standing by that. So I'm going to go with that.
Are you talking Raw or are you talking SmackDown?
Talking Raw. Talking Raw.
SmackDown was 1.568 million viewers.
Yes.
Over last week's show of 1.49. So, and a 0.45 in the rating and the key demographic. I see that one. I don't see the Raw numbers. Oh,
here it is right here.
Rampage
Correction.
numbers.
We regret that our WWE ratings information earlier from our usual industry source that has supplied accurate data for many years was pulled incorrectly. We have removed the initial story. WrestleNomics reports the average viewership was 1.516 million. Thank you very much, David. So there you go.
That's what, yep, David just.
So it's actually an increase over last week.
Yes, 0.48 in the demo. It looks like SmackDown and Raw basically did the same number.
Pretty much, so it's not going anywhere. So that's kind of crazy, right? Because I don't know, man. Call me a raving lunatic, but it seems like they are really quick to report when they get a bad number on Raw or WWE. It seems like all the guys, it seems like they got an axe to grind. They jump all over it with the first thing they get. They don't source it out. Like 1.2 million seems really low for a go-home Raw on the initial face value. But nobody questioned it, and they just ran with it.
Right. Right.
So that's
they could be doing Rampage numbers, 276,000 viewers this past Friday. When are they just going to roll up the sidewalks in Rampage Town and just pack it in? Tony, pack it in, throw it in the truck, take it out to the landfill, and burn it. That's all you can do. Burn the Rampage set. It's just
it's awful.
The drizzling S's. It's horrible. And that's to show that rumor has it that show's going bye-bye.
Well, here's the other part I want to talk about this too is Bleacher Report put out a statement to all of the AEW pay-per-view subscribers, letting them know that on the first of the year, if you have bought their pay-per-views and you own the archives, they would be getting deleted. You no longer have them. You can no longer watch them. So the AEW pay-per-view is going away from Bleacher Report, which means, in theory, they should have a new deal. What it absolutely means is they are no longer going to be doing business with the Bleacher Report folks for their pay-per-view buys.
It's very intriguing as to what's going to take place. Tony Khan put out a little tweet on Twitter. Tomorrow, Wednesday, 10/2/24, is the 5-year anniversary of the first ever AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. Thank you all. Tomorrow's Wednesday Night Dynamite anniversary show will have a significant overrun thanks to the TBS network. Plus, I may have another announcement.
Did you say significant overrun?
Significant overrun, Don. It's usually a 6-minute overrun. This could be a 15-minute overrun. Big news, Don. Big news.
Do you think he actually makes the TV announcement tomorrow on their 5-year anniversary?
Who knows?
I say not a chance. I say this is just, again, this is the Carney barking in the yard saying, can I get more people to watch my product? That's what they're wanting to say over and over again.
Speaking of people who really need their product watched on, have you heard about the NWA? Billy Corgan's NWA.
Oh, now what's he up to? I forgot they were still a thing.
Billy Corgan's NWA moved off of YouTube to the CW app. If you're lucky enough, to have the CW app on your TV or on your smart device, whatever your streaming device that you have in your living room, if you're lucky enough to have the CW app, Don, you can watch all the episodes of NWA. Power with the extra.
Does that cost money?
No, it's free, Don. It's
okay.
Free.
Then I might have to check that out then.
They were getting paid like $25,000 per show.
Oh, I
put on their 80-seat programming. EC3's their heavyweight champion. But now, Don, because CW has NXT going live tonight.
And I can't wait to watch it. I'm DVRing it.
They've dropped NWA Power altogether. They're no longer in bed
Gone.
with NWA. So, Billy Corgan announced tomorrow at 6:05, that would be tonight, at 6:05 p.m., we air NWA 76 exclusively on this app X. We're excited for you to tune in. No YouTube. They're doing it on X.
Yeah, that's sad. No money there. By the way, thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. Super Chat's open. The Rabbit Wolverine LC Killer says, I have to pirate NXT tonight because the show starts at 7 for me. Buddy, watch it however you got to see it, but I feel like it's going to be a strong show tonight. It feels like when they get these big shows built up at NXT, I've yet to see it not deliver. There might have been a couple of matches that didn't. So, like a famous artist once said, I woke up in a Bugatti. So we're going to go from there. I want to talk about Raw from last night. You said you loved it. There were parts I liked.
Hey, I never said I loved it. I said I liked it better than SmackDown. I never said I loved it.
Okay. Let's talk about what's up here. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre arrived. They showed that. Strowman looked stiff walking in the door. Did you notice that? Because he had back surgery, I think. He looked stiff just walking with his dog through the door.
He had some cervical vertebrae fused in his neck when he was out the last time he got hurt. That's why, he's a big guy, Don, and airplane seats are not forgiving to big men. And also in some of these rental cars. The guy's almost 7 feet tall, wide guy, very big, long legs, very, very hard to get around in those rental cars, airplane seats. So I can see I'd be a little stiff, a little hurt a little bit.
Rabbit Wolverine, thank you very much for the super chat, bud. We appreciate you tuning in all the time. Like and subscribe. Hit the notifications button. Yeet leads off the show. Well, hold on. Bronson Reed, a.k.a. Fatback McSwain, is out there, so he's looking like a ham hock walking out himself. I was glad to see him. You're going to get the blow-off matches that night. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeet leads us off, and did you notice the blue in the Intercontinental title now?
Yes,
did you notice they added some color back?
I said, what is that? What belt does he have? What is that? And that's what it was.
Does it not just a little bit of color goes such a long way on these things?
That's true.
I mean, they could have added a little bit more as far as I was concerned. I didn't feel like they added enough to it. And then the Yeet Man starts leading us down this promo that he has. What the hell happened? Did he get lost in space on this thing?
He did. He forgot what he was going to say. And he was just killing time. He stood there for a while, for like 2 or 3 minutes, trying to get his wits about him. And then he remembered what he had to say. I'm sure it wasn't exactly what he had to say. And then they sent out somebody to talk to him.
Well, they sent out Braun Breaker, which I was like, all right, he's going to come out here and kick his ass. And it felt like they sent him out like, go save him. This is turning into a disaster because, like you said, the Yeet Man's walking in circles. I love all of y'all. Mm-hmm. Thank y'all for the support. Yeet, I'm so happy I'm the champion. I call my mama.
You can't rely on 4 moves all the time, and you can't rely on saying yeet all the time. You got to switch it up.
Spitting in your hand. It gets old, man. Anyway, Braun Breaker comes out, and I thought to myself, thank God he's going to kick his ass now, and we're going to get something going. And Braun Breaker says, you were the better man last night. You do that championship well. I'm not going to spear you. I just want to congratulate you. And they shake hands. And I wrote down, boo! I want to have my Braun Breaker as a heel. There's too many damn faces in this company. Why are they making the best heel they've got, the badass, a baby face? And it's not like he was a pussified baby face here. It's not like they were making him into Kevin Nash when they turned him into Santa Claus for that dumb shit. But it still didn't fit the bill. And then the Yeet Man says, and this was the worst, there's some dogs in Indiana. I'm done. I was like, next segment. It's got to get better than this. It's got to get better than this.
Well, Don, it was reported last week that there's a push right now backstage to make Braun Breaker a babyface. And that's what they did.
Right.
They planted the seeds last night. And the first seed was what you just told us. That was the planting of the first seed. He got the rub from Jey Uso. He got the acknowledgement. So
I woke up in a Bugatti. Anyway, moving on. Xavier Woods flashback like a bad acid trip to where he and Rey Mysterio got into it. The Dom and Liv segment. Now, I have been a fan of Judgment Day, but this was about as cringe as it got, with Dominic Mysterio having a fake conversation with Finn Balor, who's apparently got travel issues. This whole thing felt like a high school play to me. It just felt hokey to me in every way, in every bad way. Just hokey.
High School Musical wrestling.
Was I wrong, though? Did it not feel like a bad high school play at this point in time? Hanging out in the hot there. It's hot out here. Let's go inside. Bitch, you are made out of clay. Get in the house.
It's horrible. The whole thing was a prop, though, to show off the car that they're selling.
Yes.
They're selling the toy car. The Lucha Lowrider, it's called.
I'm telling you, man. I couldn't get into this. Ray and
been
Woods.
Eating Hot Pockets. They should have been eating
dude,
Hot Pockets.
I wish I was.
Or Skittles and drinking sodas while they were outside.
Anything.
More
Ray and
product
Woods
placement.
have the match. They have the mask spot, which was awful.
Did you notice what I said?
Oh my God, you could have seen that thing from Russia with Love. It was so bad. You could see Rey Mysterio undoing his mask. The whole thing was just, again, I did not like this Raw. I don't know what it was. I know what it was. I'm telling you what it was. I don't know what about it that you thought was good. Am I even getting to the good part yet? Because this was another awful moment in time on this show.
I like the Braun Breaker stuff. They're going into
We're
a
not
face
there yet.
direction. I know you don't
We're not
like
there
that,
yet.
but they're going into a face direction. The Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston arguing amongst themselves who's going to turn face, who's going to be the heel. Just get it over with.
I
Get
agree.
it over
Like,
with.
on that part, I agree, but they're coming up on their anniversary. It feels like Big E's going to come in and try to reunite them, and I'm going to hate that if that happens. Moving on this show, because I wrote, this ain't good. Lyra Valkyria, was how you say her name? Lyra Valkyria. Sorry.
Lyra Valkyria.
Versus Private First Class, also known as PFC. This shit. These chicks, they are not over, pal. I'm sorry. I have given this about as much time as I can spend trying to watch these three girls make something out of this horse shit, and it ain't happening for me. Nothing about any of this makes me ever want to watch.
If you take a faction comprised of jobbers to the stars, they're always going to be perceived as jobbers to the stars. If there's one of them, if there's 9 of them, they're all going to be perceived as jobbers to the stars. What they needed was somebody who's a big star to be the leader of this little group, not Sonya Deville. Not her.
It's not working for me, bro. It's just
not working. It's not working. They need somebody.
I mean,
they need a female, a strong female heel to come in who's a star, bigger on the star scale than those 3, and come in and take over for Sonya Deville.
I'm just going to call it like I see it. It's Private's First Class. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. Private's First Class comes out. I'm done with this. Zoe wins the match. Out comes some chicks I don't remember because they've been gone for so long, and I don't care. The whole thing ended in a schmaz. Just my don't give a shit meter was pegging at this point in time.
Why did it do this with these tag teams? If one of them gets hurt, they're off the air. Both of them are off the air.
That's it. Gone.
That's a Vince thing. Oh, well, she's hurt. She broke her nose. All right, they're both off the air. They should have had the other girl, Jaden, what's her name?
I don't know, nor do I care.
Caden Carter. They should have Caden Carter wrestle every week solo. Wrestle every week. She should have wrestled all 3 members, one at a time. Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler. Try to get revenge for her Katana Chance partner with a broken schnozola. That's what they should have done. But
I agree. I mean, it sucks.
I don't understand it.
Then we get to one of the highlights of the show.
Hang on a second.
Oh, no.
Going back, one more thing about this.
Oh, no.
When they came out, when those 2 girls came out, Carter and Chance, You could have heard a pin drop in the crowd.
Yeah, that's the other part. The crowd, you could tell this just wasn't getting the crowd into it, man. The crowd was dead silent. That's rule one.
Who's this?
And
one of them looked like the Green Hornets driver, Kato. She had that black mask on.
Who's running to my ring?
There's hoes coming down the ring.
All they were missing was the Godfather. It would have made more sense at that point in time. Whatever. One of the best parts of the show was the Bronson Reed and Strowman segment where they had them like, Godzilla and King Kong fighting. That was cool. I love that the special effects they did. I thought that was a very cool segment. I got into that. Really sold me on the match, hyped it up enough. And then they had it, the Caitlyn and Katana with Jackie Kettleman or Redmond or whatever the hell her name is.
Jackie Redmond.
Jackie Redmond, excuse me. And out come two Irish ogres. And I was... Them girls are huge. Like, this is the whole part that sort of
towered. They towered over everybody in the frame.
Yes,
everybody. They towered over them all, and you would think, well, these two are going to beat these two up and win.
They're just going to
contest here.
Yeah, they're two giant ogre Irish bitches that are just going to throttle them when they get in the ring. And I said, this is what I wrote down. At least there was some passion coming out of Caitlyn and Katana when this was all going on. They were yelling like they were madder than hell. At least that got me interested. Other than that, the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the show was just out the window. Don't give a shit. On to something else, please.
That wasn't good. Not good at all.
But then it gets good. And I'll give you this one. Adam Pearce in the ring doing his thing. Announcing why he's in the cage, what the stipulations are, why there's all these bodyguards around. Punk comes down. He checks out the cage. You can see him feeling it. Given that it really leads into this is going to be a violent fight. It gives you that, I know I'm in danger. I need to make sure I know about all this ring, what's going on with the ring. I thought it was a cool moment. I also noticed as soon as he wrote down, he's in all white. Why is he in all white? That's very non-CM Punk to come out in all white. And then out comes Drew wearing all black. And I was like, oh, now it makes sense. It's that dynamic of good versus evil. Bad guy versus the good guy. I thought this was so well done. Both of these guys cut promos out their ass. They were all about it. Both of them said, I hate you. Drew was going off about how much he hates CM Punk. I'm going to end your career. Your wife is going to divorce you essentially because I'm going to make you a vegetable and she's going to have to bathe you and feed you and everything for you. And Punk said, I can't even stay at home because the vitriol I have for you in my heart. I don't want to take that home to
4 weeks.
It's just, it was, dude, you talk about professional wrestling. This was professional wrestling. This wasn't sports entertainment. It was professional wrestling. I loved every part about this show. Gave me goosebumps. I was like, man, Tennessee's playing Saturday night. One of my favorite college football teams. I'm going to watch Tennessee, but it's probably going to be on my phone because I'm absolutely watching this PLE this Saturday night. I am watching this.
What's the main event of the PLE? What do you think? Bloodline?
It's got to be the Bloodline. It's got to be the Bloodline. Okay. Would you like to add anything to what I said about that? The vitriol coming out of these two guys at each other, the hate, the anger.
Well, they're both promo masters. McIntyre, as a heel, has really upped his game of promos over the past 6-7 months. It's an art form now. Even trolling on Twitter, it's an art form. Punk, what can you say about Punk? He's one of the greats. When I saw him in white, I thought, he's getting busted open. He's going to be bleeding all over that shit.
Yeah. It sort of gave you that. No, but it gives you the foreshadow that he might come to PLE. You know what? I say it's probably the Bloodline. In retrospect, it might not be with that cage, man, because this is the blow-off match. This is the go-home, end-all, be-all. Blood might be all over the ring when this thing is all said and done. I'm just saying, like, if I was booking the show, right? Let's play I'm the Magic Booker.
Sure.
That show would close the show. That'd be the one.
Unless the Bloodline match has a huge reveal at the end.
Well, it'd have to be a huge reveal to outdo this because I've been looking. This feud, like they said on the show last night, has been almost a year in the making. It is absolutely the feud of the year. There's no debating it. This is as good as it gets when you're a professional wrestling fan.
Yes.
Okay. Braun Strowman gets interviewed, and she asked him, "Are you trepidatious about this match?" And he says, "I don't even know what that word means." I can't deny it. That shit popped me. I laughed like hell when he said that, and I'm not a big Bronson Reed fan. That shit popped me. I laughed like hell. And then to top it all off, R-Truth comes running out. Did not see this coming. Adds another comedy gold segment. Tells The Miz he's gotten him a match with AOP. And he says, the authors are paid. And Truth said, how many books they written? I said, get the hell out of here.
Just great. Just great. And it looks like it's going to be a feud between The Miz and R-Truth.
Which is fun. We're going to get to that in a minute, but it looks fun. I'm glad we're going to get that, you know? And then we get to the Judgment Day. Have we reached the point of it's time to end this yet, or do you think there's another mile or two they can get out of? I mean, your honest assessment, because I'll tell you mine. I didn't mind any of this, but I feel like it's time to move on to something else for me personally. Just me personally.
When she takes the belt back from Liv, I think it's time to move on. Have another faction against the Judgment Day.
Who though?
What more can you do?
I agree. There's nothing else you could do. I mean, we're at the blow-off angle. We've got we've got a singles match, right? Mm-hmm. Is Finn Balor facing Damian Priest at the PLE?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I couldn't remember if that was one of them or not. I know that it's Gunther and Sami Zayn, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I know that was one of them. The singles match with the ladies.
That's not going to be on the PLE.
I've got women's matches, Liv Morgan and with Dominic Mysterio in a cage versus Rhea Ripley.
Yes. Damian
Priest, Finn Balor.
Yes.
Hell in a Cell, CM Punk versus Drew. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes and Roman.
Yes.
And Sami Zayn versus Gunther.
That's next
So
Monday.
what's the fifth match?
Sami Zayn versus Gunther is next Monday on Raw.
So what's the fifth match on the PLE is what I'm asking.
I have no idea.
Okay. I'll have to look into that because I thought that's
maybe Intercontinental title bout.
No, that wasn't. I know that wasn't announced. That wasn't announced.
U.S. title?
Nope. It hasn't. Well, if you're saying that's not it, then maybe that is what's going to be announced on Friday night. So we'll see. I thought that was the next one. If it's not, so be it. We're going to move on to something else. The Judgment Day, this whole thing broke down. Nia versus Bayley. That's it. Thank you very much. Nia Jax versus Bayley. There we go.
There you go.
Thank you very much for that chat. JR chimes in again. I knew it was another title. I swear I thought it was that one. So whatever it is, it is. Kofi versus Chad. Gable gets busted open. Did you see that? He got it the hard way.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Kofi goes to do his finisher. His partner grabs the wrong leg, screws him over. Yada, yada, yada. He loses, beating Kofi Kingston. Do something or get off the pot with these two guys, man. Do something with Xavier Woods and Kofi or get off the pot because I don't want to see these guys anymore in this will they or won't they shit. And I know I gave you shit earlier about wanting to get to home base. This isn't about getting to home base. This has been 10, 12 years in the making. Do something already. It's gotten stale a long time ago. No more freaking flapjacks. No more damn cereal. No more bootios. None of that shit. No more trombones. Get to something that grown men would argue about. This shit's got to stop.
They lost the heart and soul of the New Day when Big E got hurt, and they couldn't recover from it. They tried with Odyssey Jones, and you know how that turned out.
Right.
Allegedly he's not let go, but he's suspended pending investigation, I guess. I don't know. He's not fired yet.
Right. So I don't know.
So speaking of suspended pending investigation, have you seen Brock Lesnar is back on the roster?
I did not see that.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. All right. I got a couple more things to cover here. Sammy versus Gunther segment. Again, I got to ask you. Oh, there we go. He is back. Look at that. Good for him. All right. The Sammy versus Gunther segment. I don't know why people act like Gunther can't cut a promo. I'll never understand it. This was gold. This was gold. Sammy said, "You're afraid that I'll beat you." And Gunther said, "You're right. I am afraid because of my legacy to losing to a loser like you. Losing to you was my biggest embarrassment ever. I had my family at WrestleMania 2, but I wasn't throwing them out there like a damn poor, pitiful me moment, so to speak." I thought this was absolutely money. The whole thing he did was absolutely great. I loved it. Good for you, Gunther. So apparently they're fighting next Monday, so you said. So good for that. I enjoyed this.
The graphic is up on Twitter. I hope when Sammy loses, I hope he goes away for a while, spends time at the house with the family, does an AJ Styles, heals up a little bit. It's just the
you know where this is going, right?
Version of Mick Foley. What?
You know where this is going, right? It's going to be the Saudi Arabia. It's going to be the Saudi Arabia PLE where they have the blow-off match, because this match is going to end in a count-out or a screw job finish or something along those lines, and they're going to build this to that PLE so that then he can go home until the Royal Rumble, so that when he debuts at the Rumble, it's a big deal.
They were working their way up to have Ilya Dragunov go into the title picture. The face.
Oh, yes, you mentioned this.
Yes. And that was the match working the house shows, the main event on the house shows. Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov tore his ACL at a house show. So it's been announced he's going to be out 6 to 9 months with a torn ACL. But the way that guy trains, he might be back in 5 months. Who knows?
Well, look, I don't care how hard you train, pal. I've torn knee ligaments. It's all a matter of how fast your body can recover. Sometimes you can do too much rehab. I've been there. That shit happens, man. You can do too much rehab and really tear your body up. The Miz versus R-Truth was something I didn't see coming. The Miz just totally turning on R-Truth. We're going to get that little bit of a rivalry. I don't know how far that can go, but it sort of feels like a Survivor Series type blow-off to me. I don't know about you. Like, sort of building for one of those moments where R-Truth aligns himself with, I don't know, the big guy, the choo-choo man, and the Miz Strowman goes with the AOP. Yes, Strowman. And it feels like that's going to be one of those wild 5-on-5 matchups that just sort of happen. You know what I mean? That's AOP, what I thought when this happened.
There's 5 or 6 people to come out when the AOP comes out. You got those 2 schmucks. You've got Paul Ellering. You got Scarlett Boudreaux, and you got Karrion Kross. They're gonna have enough for a football team if they have add any more guys to that faction.
Well, they might.
Who asked for the Miz versus R-Truth? Who asked for that?
Everybody.
That kick that he gave R-Truth, he looked like if you have kids, like your little baby granddaughter coming over and slapping you on the face. That's what it looked like. It was so soft. And R-Truth went down like somebody shot him in the head.
Well, he's a great actor. What do you want?
He's a funny man. He really is a funny man.
And then we end the show with Strowman versus Reed. And I don't have enough time to cover all the shit that went down in this match. They broke the barricades. They broke into the fans' barricade area. They broke the table on the set. They had steel steps in the ring. They broke the ring on a superplex, a la old school, what was it? It was the Big Show and John Cena or Brock Lesnar. I can't remember which one it was. It was absolutely one of the craziest damn matches I've seen. I miss having feuds like this on Raw and SmackDown that don't always have to go to the PLE or the pay-per-view. I enjoyed the hell out of this. I thought it was great. The finish I never saw coming. Everybody's down, and out comes Seth freaking Rollins to announce his return, stomping on Bronson Reed's head so to allow Strongman to win the match. Strowman, if you will.
And Strongman, as we talked before we went on the air, Strongman tore his groin.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. That's what the streets are saying. Braun Strowman tore his groin when Bronson Reed lifted him up for that Samoan drop.
So
ripped it right up.
I mean, look, I thought this was a hell of a way to close the show. I enjoyed it. Seth Rollins coming back to exact some revenge. I didn't mind it so much. I know some people might not have been a fan. I didn't hate it. I thought Raw was a strong show this week. I didn't think it was the best show. There were parts. I tell you what, man, that first hour was tough to get through for me, buddy. It really was tough for me to get through. It was just hard. Any thoughts?
Well, it's a 3-hour show, Don, and a lot of it's not for everybody. So they're trying different things. They're trying to move these stories along, but some of these stories are moving at a glacial pace. Okay, you got Woods and Kofi. You've got the Pure Tuna Collective and Carter and Chance and Lyra Valkyria. You've got the Judgment Day, just diddling around with the tag team belts. You've got the Finn Balor, Damian Priest thing, which is building to a head for how long now? I'll be glad when some of these feuds go, when they bring up some fresh talent from NXT and move them into the main roster and move some of the people who have gotten stale back down to NXT. Well, they'll be perceived as bigger stars and can put some of the people over or work on new gimmicks or whatever. But
we'll see. I also want to say thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notifications button. We appreciate you guys and gals for joining. The Super Chat's open. That covered Raw and SmackDown. I had a couple of things I wanted to get to real quick before we call it a night because I do want to watch this PL. Yeah, I do want to watch NXT. But there's a few notes to cover. As we talked about last week, and we're going to get more in depth with it as the show goes on. The numbers are out of the Vince McMahon docuseries that debuted on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the 4th most watched show on Netflix over the course of the weekend with 4.9 million views in a 6-day period. So that's pretty impressive. I mean,
average viewers, people who don't watch current wrestling, they remember Vince from the old days. They're saying,
right.
Oh, he did so many horrible things. Oh, it was just terrible.
Dude, some of the
Here,
shit
I'm going to write you a list.
This.
Take a look at this. Take a look what he did here. Take a look at what he did there.
The other part about the show...
Does defecating on a head during a 3-way session mean something terrible to you? That's where you would draw the line.
It was some of the stuff that was revealed in here. I'm sure a lot of fans didn't know about or didn't remember or never heard of. Him being on the Late Show. People forgot about that when he was on David Letterman way back in the day.
He was on Letterman. He was on Phil Donahue. He went on a lot of these shows.
Well, he was on
Geraldo.
But he was on Letterman as a New Year's Eve host. He was one of their hosts, if you remember that. Where Letterman
loved wrestling.
He
He's
did.
a wrestling fan, yeah.
So they go to Vince McMahon, and Letterman goes, "Is that your tuxedo, by the way?" He goes, "No, it's not." And I don't know why, but that popped Letterman, man. He was laughing like hell. And then it got to the end of the show, and they're all standing around. It's the other co-host, and he's in a tuxedo. And Vince McMahon goes, "By the way, is that your tuxedo?" And the guy goes, "No, actually, it's not." Letterman lost his shit live on air. He thought it was the funniest, little punchline he'd ever heard in his life. I thought that was great. I enjoyed watching it. I've watched the documentary. There's not a whole lot on here that I don't know about. They sort of dance around here and there. They fast forward, go back. Hulk Hogan recounting some of his bullshit is some of the best stuff you could watch. They recount a lot of the highlights of WrestleMania, which is what's really crazy to me. They don't talk about his idiosyncrasies, like going to get a haircut every week in the city and tipping the guy like $100 or whatever. They don't talk about him driving like a complete lunatic wherever they went, or his meetings until 2 and 3 a.m. in the boardroom with these people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about that stuff. That's the shit people don't know about, that I felt like they really did themselves a disservice by talking about the WrestleManias that everybody's seen as a child or as a young adult. That just sort of felt like there was so many other aspects they could have covered on this thing.
He lived on black coffee and power bars for years. That was his breakfast and his lunch. And then he would have a steak wrap for dinner. And
Steak wrap.
Give me a steak wrap.
Tube
He'd
steak.
order out, feed everybody at the conference table, eat a steak wrap. Vince, how you like those burritos? What a burrito? What do you mean a burrito? What's a burrito? That's what you're eating right there. That's a steak wrap, pal. He finally found out what a burrito was, which led to the Big Show eating a spiked burrito. Someone gave the Big Show a burrito on the air. that was spiked with X-Lax, some sort of laxative. And he spent a good part of the show on Raw on the toilet in the men's room at the venue. You recall that?
Yes.
Monstrous noises coming out of the stall. That's a Vince McMahon trope. Farts, defecation.
Yes, he loves fart jokes. Don't get me started on that. He loves a good fart joke. And that's the other part that sort of got me was there's so many different aspects they could have covered on this documentary, and everybody's like, they went after him. No, they didn't. It was kids' gloves. They talked about, like I said last week, about the sexual assault supposedly that was, sort of, it wasn't proposed, but it was sort of talked about innuendoly with his mother about how she may have had sexual relations with him when he was a young man, and about his stepfather beating the hell out of him. So that was very well known. Just sort of things like this. And there were parts of this that were like, okay, I've heard about it. Now they're bringing light, but there's so much more they didn't talk about. Him screaming at people, going off on people when Jim Barnett came in to supposedly take over. Like, there's stuff like that they really could have covered that they didn't.
My boy.
My boy.
Hey, Vince, sit down over here.
They could have. I'll put it to you this way. I used to listen to Bruce Pritchard all the time when his podcast came out like 8 years ago. The stories he would tell and the idiosyncrasies that Vince had, that shit could have filled an episode. And they could have literally called it Idiosyncrasies of Mr. McMahon. So I just want to talk about that real quick. There's also one other bit of news I want to talk about that's got the neckbeards going crazy. The WWE has filed to trademark yes, yes, yes.
As well they should. They already trademarked it previously, and they let it lapse, and now they wanted to trademark it again, of course. Just so AEW can't play with it.
Aren't we getting silly at this point in time? Aren't we getting silly? Isn't this a little silly? A little middle schooly?
Well, the owner of AEW did call Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
He did.
Bald a-holes.
I get that.
So, yes.
Don't stoop to your competition. Be above them. They're gnats on your ass at times. Like, they're going to try to get their piece and chew, and then you just smack them away and kill them. That's just what it is.
It's a nice thumb to the eye. It's a thumb to the eye to the EVPs and Tony Khan.
It's just petty as shit to me. Anyway, that's something else.
They don't have to worry about that, Don. They don't have to worry about that because they signed the Costco guys to wrestle a match.
Oh, my God, man. Why is this a thing?
It's currently unknown. AJ of the Costco guys has signed a deal with AEW to wrestle a match. It's currently unknown when, where, or who he'll wrestle, but he has signed with the company on a one-match deal.
I'd rather.
Can't wait to see that. That's really going to put butts in seats around the
wrong with you, Tony
Dynamite ring.
I got two more news stories to get to. What do you got, real quick? Anything pressing so we can go watch NXT with our loved ones?
The report that Vince McMahon is actively working with former WWE executive producer Kevin Dunn to release a response piece to his Netflix documentary has been proven false.
That's what I thought.
PW Insider reported Kevin Dunn's not working with Vince. It's not true.
Of course it's not true. Why would he respond to something that wasn't even that awful? It wasn't like it was a hit piece. It was a quick nothing documentary. Like I said, the last 25 minutes was the only thing that covered the sexual allegations. That's it. So what the hell are we talking about here?
Last thing I got is CNBC has reported that the WBD AEW deal is on pace to be signed by yesterday. That is just in time for the big announcement. Well, no, this post on Twitter was from the 27th of September.
Oh, shit.
So, contrary to claims from Meltzer, Zarian, BJ Bethel, and Ryan Fredericks, who claim the deal's been signed for weeks, CNBC, who should know, because they're a money channel for NBC. They report on financial news and all that. You're aware of that.
Yeah.
WBD AEW deal is on pace to be signed by Monday. It's just in time for the big announcement before the 5th anniversary show on 10/2. And the blurb reads from CNBC's website, for the professional wrestling fans in the house, I'm hearing Warner Brothers Discovery is on pace to ink a deal with upstart Wrestling League All Elite Wrestling, AEW, by the end of this month. AEW's current agreement with Warner Brothers Discovery's Turner Sports ends at year's end. And MJF is filming Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yes. Also starring in the movie is Bad Bunny, the rapper and former, part-time WWE wrestler, and Travis Kelce. Freeman will play Gordy, one of Happy Gilmore's sons. And this is from the Hollywood website Deadline.
Something tells me his son's trying to be a golfer and he wants to be a hockey player or something along those lines.
And Nikki Bella's husband, who allegedly
beat her ass.
Allegedly, yes. He was. All the charges were dismissed. All the charges.
Get the hell out of here!
Battery, dismissed.
That makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes,
if he really beat her ass, why would the charges suddenly get? Who dropped the charges? The DA or her?
The DA, because they didn't have enough evidence that he actually did it.
Go.
Didn't have enough evidence. However, there's still a restraining order in effect.
That's all fine.
Against him, and they're getting a divorce. She's got some high-powered Hollywood attorney.
Yeah,
and
I heard it. He walked out at the press conference. Did you see him?
Who?
This lawyer. He came out for the press conference. He had the music going, everything like literally a wrestler. Take it to the limit. Limit. That was his theme song. You just see Scarface again. You get the mood, pal. Take it to the limit. Limit.
And there's a rumor going around that Cardi B is going to be wrestling at next year's SummerSlam.
I would.
She's pregnant now.
She won't be wrestling. She'll just be part of the show. I'm sure of that. I got one last news and note to get through here before we head out of here and watch this NXT. The backstage news on Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Last week on Dynamite, MVP appeared as we knew. When original reports of MVP and Lashley's planned departure from the WWE surface, it was stated Shelton Benjamin would accompany them to AEW. It turns out that is now the case. According to Ibu of Wrestling Purist, the former wrestling champion is expected to sign with the company. So they're going. So good. Look, I don't care. Good for him, man. If he still feels like he's got something to offer the ring and they're going to pay him a shitload of money to do it, God bless you, man. I don't hate any of these guys for going to make $1. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Go make you some money.
That's right.
Just be careful. Don't do anything stupid like, I don't know, jump off a 20-foot cage at 50 years old and snap your leg like a T-bone steak. Just a thought.
Steak. Like a T-bone steak, pal.
So we will be back Thursday to review the 5-year anniversary show. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Please like and subscribe. It is time to go watch NXT. I hope you all have a great couple of days until I see you next time. I know one guy that's going to be watching NXT tonight.
Absolutely.
Until next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.